everybody, I'm Joey.
And I'm Alex.
And we're here to talk about the Librarians Adventure card game.
Here it is.
You were waiting for a bit more of like a build-up.
I was. I thought there'd be more like preamble, but here's the game.
Just get to it.
Yeah. Ta-da!
We're in a library. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, Librarians Adventure card game. This was a movie for a while with Noah Wiley.
Yep.
And then it became a TV show, which we've seen
With Rebecca Romaine.
Rebecca Romaine.
I love her.
No longer Stamos. Rebecca Romaine.
No.
So it's a TV show based on a movie, based on an actual library. It's not true.
No.
But anyway, so before we get into actually what we thought of the game, let's see how it's played.
Okay.
Shh, you're in a library. Okay, we are set up for a two-player game of the Librarians Adventure card game. Like I said, we are playing with 2 players now. There are also 2 characters in the box that we are not using. Show those to you right here. And also, the characters have their decks in here, and there are more missions in here as well. One thing to note is there's no real organizer in here, so these cards are going to slide around unless you have a bag to put them in. Not a huge deal, but something to keep in mind. Also, like I said, we're playing one mission here. This is Assault on the Library. There are several different missions included, and every mission on the back has exactly how to set it up and to play the game. And speaking of how to play the game, there is actually a player aid. I do love when they include player aids because this tells you exactly how to guide through it. So I'm going to tell you how the game plays. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but this is just an overview so you have an idea how to play the game. First off, how to win and lose. How to win is you're going to go through these missions, and once you complete the missions via skill checks, then you are going to read the back, and it could tell you win, or it could tell you to go to another mission. There are 2 mission cards, 3 mission cards, so it really depends. I don't want to give away too much as you may want to play through this game. And if you lose, you are going to go ahead and, if there are 9 disturbance tokens on here, on this disturbance card, you're going to flip it, and you may go to a second disturbance card, or it may just tell you you lose. So that is how you lose the game, through disturbances here. Now, speaking of tokens, you've got the normal tokens here. These are double-sided. You have disturbance and you have clue tokens. You have specialty tokens and you have hit point tokens. And then you've also got these die. These die right here are used for skill checks. This is like Arkham, where you are going to do a skill check and decide how to do it. This shows how many die are rolled. The first one is Guile. He rolls 2. Then Insight, 1, Lore, 3, and Tactics, 2. So it's going to be skill checks against every card that shows up here, or the mission, which is 2 on Guile, it shows here. So you're going to start off with 4 cards in your hand. Every card has a value at the top. And for some reason, I have 5. So we're going to have 4 cards or 5 cards in your hand. And you're going to look at the value towards the top here. And you're also going to start with 4 energy. Your energy are cards that are brought off the top of the deck. So I'm going to go ahead and play a sidekick. Place her here. She costs 3 energy. I'll take 3 energy. Place in the discard. I've got 1 energy left. There's nothing here I want to use. So I'm just going to go ahead and hold on to this. And that is the end of my preparation phase. And I've already done the same thing with Eve. She has played someone out there. So now you're going to roll into the adventure phase. Adventure phase, it starts with the first player. And the player, we're going to make me first. The first player is the one that has this aid from the library card. When you start off, it's flipped this way. Later in the game, it possibly could be flipped to this side, allowing this to become a usable character that you can then attack different cards and do skill checks with. But to start off, he is face down. So first, we're going to grab the adventure card. It's an enemy, and if it's an enemy, it goes towards you. However, this guy says stealth. He enters the play unassigned. Since he's unassigned, he goes here. Now, if he's not taken care of before the action phase, he's going to do 2 damage to somebody. So it takes 4 hit points to kill him. Skill checks, he rolls 2 black die, and he does 2 damage. So now Eve is going to pull over a card as well. So there we go. We've got another enemy told up here, and a sentinel. It's going to interplay guarding a mission. So now it is guarding this mission, so we can't attack this mission without first taking care of the Sentinel. There are different cards in here as far as like obstacles. There's also event cards you resolve right away. So now that is the end of the adventure phase. So now the action phase. Now you get to start to do skill checks against these. You could do a skill check. You could go ahead and pull this guy towards me. So now he's on me. Eve might decide to take him. And we're going to do a skill check. Jacob might roll 2 against his 3. Let's go ahead and do that, see how that works out. So 2 white die for Jacob. And then 3 black die. Right here. 3 black die, roll these. And what do we have? We've got 3 successes for him and 2 for me and this icon here. Now this icon, I'll show you where it's a little bit bigger. This icon right here is not a success. However, it can do something positive. For instance, here it's going to give him a clue token, which he can use later. So I'll take a clue token, put on here, but I did fail the check, so I did no damage to this guy. So you're going to do that with each one of these, going up on the skill that it shows on the card and attacking and seeing how you do. And if you beat it, you remove it. But if you don't beat it and they're readied, well, that's when it comes to the enemy phase. It's their turn to fight back, so to speak. First thing you're going to do is you're going to, all the ones that are readied are going to attack. So if this guy is going to attack, he will do 2 damage to somebody, either here or here. And tell you what, Jacob will go ahead and take those. Oh, sorry, he does 3. Because this is 3. Whew, that's a hard hit. So take 3 and put it right there on Jacob. And over here, this guy is going to do 2. So take 2, and Eve is going to take the 2 hits. Then you're going to go to the disturbance. 1 gets added automatically. And you're also going to add the number. If any of these were left here unassigned, another token will be added there to get you closer to the 9. That helps you flip this card and it's closer to losing the game. And any obstacles, let me show you an obstacle real quick. Right here, if this was readied, he would do 2 damage. Or sorry, add 2 tokens to the disturbance. And again, you would take this guy out by having to roll a skill check against him, and this is kind of his hit points, so to speak. You'd have to do 2 successes against him to remove this obstacle. So that is how you go back and forth on these. So then after that, that is the enemy phase. It shows right here. And then you're going to go ahead to the refresh phase. At the refresh phase, you're going to ready all your cards in play because you're going to tap them every time you use them. So now they're readied. So they flip right back around. And then you're going to start with the player with the aid card, which is me right now. And you're going to gain 3 cards from your deck. Now these 3 cards can either be energy, taken and placed right here. Say I want to put 2 here. And then this one goes into my hand. So now I've got an extra card here, and I've got 3 energy to spend. Same thing happens over here. And then the library aid moves. So now this is the first player, and you keep going around and around. And that's the way the game is played. Up until this breaks, you get 9 disturbance, or you beat this mission, you go forward until the back of it says you have 1. All right, so in a nutshell, that is a quick and dirty on how you play Librarians Adventure card game. So we're going to sit back in the studio and see what we thought about it. Okay, so that's an overview of the Librarians Adventure card game. Now again, that's not all the rules. We kind of quickly went over it just to kind of give you an idea of how it's played. There's a lot more intricacies, a lot more skills, a lot more obstacles and things like that, and a lot more depth than we went into, but that's just a simple overview of the game.
I like it.
So first off, when we played this game, we've seen a couple of the episodes.
Yeah.
But playing the game and reviewing the game, we went back and started watching it again.
We did, which was really fun.
Right.
I did. I do really like this TV show, which I know has nothing to do with board game, but I do. This is a good show, and I like the movies too.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, if you like this, like any IP, if you love the Librarians, then you're probably watching this just to reaffirm you should buy this.
Yeah.
And you should. I mean, if it's the Librarians, if you like the show that much, that's good. But I'm going to try to look at it, try to separate that, and look at it as a game itself.
Yes, yes.
And which is what you kind of need to do.
Yeah.
So first off, the skill checks. Skill checks are done so many different ways. And the way this does it, do you like it, the skill checks? What do you think?
This game, I feel like, okay, so this game, when we were playing it, right, we'll be playing along happily, and I'm like, oh, we're going to crush this game. Yeah, we've got this. And then I'd be like, wow, we lost. And we lost again and again. And so my opinion about the skill checks, really, at first I was like, I really liked them. I thought they worked great. But I don't know, I just felt like it was just not enough. I felt like there was more. I wanted to have more successes than they were, and I understand all the dice were even and stuff, but I just wanted a little bit more for my skill checks, because we would be like almost there and then we would just lose, and you're like, oh, I'm so close.
That's really big, because every time we would feel like we're doing so well, this game is easy, and then it's gone. Then you flip one of the disturbance cards and it's over.
Yeah.
And it's several things I like that it does. There's only 4 die, 4 white die and 4 black die. So if you get more than that, instead of taking an extra die, you remove a die from the opponent or the opposing skill check, which I really liked.
Yes.
But there's several things on it that kind of were, first of all, it's random. Anything with die rolls are random.
Correct.
But this, when you get into the labyrinth mission, which I don't want to get into too much, then it becomes random with the die, then also random with the mission you choose, and it's just really, there's so much randomness that if that bothers you, then it's going to bother you a lot in this game.
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly it too. I just felt like sometimes like I said, I wanted more from my die, and I couldn't get anything else.
Right.
And I was like, no, that would be annoying.
And the game plays very easily.
Yes.
And it's very quick to set up, but the whole thing is it's brutal. It's very easy to lose.
Correct. Yes, I would agree. One thing I did find a little frustrating is when I first got all the cards out of the box, you do have to go through and get the scenario you're playing and find all the different cards and everything like that. I wish they were a little clearer in their markings.
Right.
That would be it's a minor thing, not a big thing. That was just something I felt like when we were doing that setup for each scenario.
Yeah, and they do have player aids, which is important.
Which I loved, and something I really do appreciate in this game is the fact that they have those player aids. They're very easy to follow, go through everything step by step. I loved that. It helped everything go, because at first you feel like it's a little clunky, but through those player aids, you're feeling like it's a lot smoother, because you're like, I've got this, here's what I'm doing next, ka-ching, off we go.
And you can construct your own decks, which I always like that deck construction. You can take the decks they give you for each character, or you can construct your own. And that is always a fun kind of deck building, deck construction mechanic that I really do like. And I've got a couple of things. One big thing is storage is going to be brutal with this, because like I said, it comes to the table quickly if you have the cards in order.
Yeah. And
this is just a box that you throw cards in, and that is just mind-blowingly poor. I mean, this is the cards sliding around in it. So if you ever put the cards back in there, they're all going to mix up, and it's going to take you 30 minutes or an hour to reset them.
You got to search through every card, Yeah,
you can get bags for every individual card, and I understand that's keeping the cost down, but that's something you need to be mindful of, because that's brutal. So you need to actually go through, if you're going to play this a lot, and separate the different decks into each character.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
So anyway, I love the theme.
Yep.
The tokens are great. The aid tokens are a little bit weird when you give, like, I think Eve has an aid token.
Yes.
And to figure out why this token is on there aren't a lot of tokens. They kept the cost down on that. But there are different aid tokens for Eve, all that. So everything into account.
One thing I did like too is I do like the flavor text on the cards too.
I do too.
I liked that as the story, because there were some things that we hadn't seen all the episodes, so I didn't quite know what that was, and so I liked reading about that. I did like the flavor text that they added. Sometimes I wish for the stories, I know they had the flavor text on the card, I wish there was a little bit more about the flavor text in the rulebook. I understand why they didn't do that, but that was just something I had just wished they did a little bit more of.
And I understand that too. And I agree too that those would make you watch the episodes more. Really, this is like getting you wanting to watch the show.
Oh, yeah.
And all that. So, and the artwork is great. It's stills from the show, which some people don't like, but they like original artwork. But this, I think, really brings you in. All right, so...
I had no problem with the fact that there was the photos, not, drawing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was
I don't mind that at all.
No.
All right, so what do you think about this, the Librarians Adventure Card Game?
Yes.
What would you give it?
I'd give it a 6.
You'd give it a 6? I'd go a little bit higher, 6.5.
Okay.
Just because it's a skill check oriented game, like there's so many of them out there, but it's really about the theme. I like the theme. It's nothing great, nothing earth shattering, but it is something fun. As long as you have them organized, it'll hit the table quickly.
Yes.
And it's fun to play. It really immerses you into the TV show and the world they've created in the show and the movie The Librarians.
Correct, and I think if you like that, that TV show, the movies, I think this would be a game that you would definitely like.
Yeah, and I can see that it's tailor-made for expansions. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good.
It's a 6.5. Again, not really, really high, but if you like this IP, if you like the Librarian show or movie, give us a chance.
Yeah.
But make sure you do it quietly.
Shh.
You're in a library.
Hey, we said that at the same time.
Hey.
Yay. Look at us.
All right. Hey, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.